and you're listening to I Said What I Said, But. Now, this show, I want to explain to you what the premises of my show is. I came up with the concept of I Said What I Said, But was when I say what I mean, I stand by it. But every blue moon, someone says something where I feel about a certain situation that I go back and say, okay, you know what? They were right. I stand corrected. I'm gonna change I changed my opinion about that now. I felt this way before, but now hearing the other side of it, I changed my mind. And then, like I said, there's also a time where I sit and say, okay, I heard what everybody said and said, and I still stand by what I said and said. So that's why my show is called I Said What I Said, But. So at the end of my segment, you'll hear me say, I said what I said, and I stand by what I said. That means that I didn't change my opinion. Or you also hear me say, I said what I said, but then I will state why I changed my opinion. And that'll be based on some of the stuff I've talked to friends, I've read on the emails or on my Facebook, or et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be a lot of fun when we talk about relationships, and whether you're single, in a couple, or married. It's going to cover all kinds of spans from talking about relationships to kids to friends, et cetera, et cetera. So I look forward to that. I love for people to subscribe to my show. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I want to grab as much of the audience as I can that'll pull them in, and we'll have fun and have Facebook Live and all kind of different events where we can get to listen to each other's opinions, and you give me show ideas. These are things that I'm looking forward to. Okay, so why don't we just dive right on into the conversation today. The conversation for today is, should your friends be involved in your relationships? Now, my opinion from the jump start has been yes and no. It's kind of hard to take a one position in this instance, and I'll explain to you what I mean. I say yes, they should be involved in it, because it's always good when you're in a relationship that you have someone that you can lean on and talk to in certain situations. If you're in a relationship that might be abusive, or the person is cheating on you, or being disrespectful to you, or dragging their feet in certain instances, or trying to use you for whatever reason, financially or sexually or whatever that might be, it's always good to have a person looking on the outside looking in, because they can tell you what they see or what they feel. It's also good to have that when you're married, that you have someone who understands you, because it's always good if you're married and you have a friend who's married to, and I don't mean somebody who's single, because people don't understand it. I think it's foolish for a married person to go to a single person for advice, because you're in a relationship and you're married. Those are completely different ball games. Okay, yeah, I understand that. Being married, being in a relationship, and then being in a sexual relationship is like being married is like a Ferrari. Being in a relationship is like a Mercedes. Being in a sexual relationship, just a sexual relationship, is like a Hyundai. They are completely different ball games when you're dealing with it. There's different elements to that, okay? Because when you're in a sexual relationship, you can cut off tomorrow. You can't do that when you're married. If you're in a relationship, you can cut it off. Even if you've been there for years, you don't have a whole lot of stuff that, you got a broken heart or anger, but that's it. Unless you have kids or something of that nature. But it still ain't the same as when you're married. You get married, it's almost a complete breakdown there, because you got to deal with financing. You got to deal with the kids who now have to understand that you're not going to longer be together. You're talking about all your life's work together dissipated in that moment. So it's a completely different ball game. So I think that when you're in a relationship, it's good to have another person who's in a relationship. Not a person who's single. A person who's single can't tell you anything about that, because they don't have those constraints. You have people who sit and say, well, you know what, you married, she don't never let you out of the house. That's a single person talking. That is a single person talking. Because another married person, they get it. They understand the dynamics that come with that. A single person don't, because they don't have those constraints. And most of the time, they're trying to get you to do what they want you to do. You can't do single things when you're married. If you're doing single things because you're married, then you're not truly married. That's true to fact. You just can't do that. If you're in the club, married, in the club almost all the time, something is wrong there. Don't give me this thing about, well, she trusts me, or he trusts me, he know I want. No, there's no real reason for you to be there all those times. Now, you have some people say, well, I'm getting out, me and my husband, he's doing his thing tonight, I'm doing my thing tonight. Okay, that's kind of understandable. But if you married and you there all the time, there's something wrong. And anybody who's intelligent enough will know that there's something wrong with you being married there. And ain't no single guy trying to talk to you about you being married to your husband. They trying to get you in bed, okay? Let's just be realistic about that, okay? Some people will try to sell you foolishness if you buy it, okay? Now, you just be who you are, but don't try to put this facade on like, oh, I'm married and we go do this every weekend because we just have our open thing. No, that means that either both of y'all have an open relationship and you're not telling people, or one of you all is doing something and the other one isn't doing something. But it clearly ain't because this is something that this is healthy for this marriage. Because if you're married, you made a decision to be with that person who you're with. I don't care if they do make you boring. You know what? You decide to be with that person. Then you have to sit down and decide what we're going to do to liven up this marriage, to add some flavor to it, Not, well, I'm going to go to the club, because I can guarantee you that you're going to get everything that's outside of helping your marriage in that thing. And if you got single friends and you out there doing married thing, you out there doing single thing married, you're in a world of trouble. So, but it's good, like I said, you have girls and say, hey, I know you're married, is your husband cool if, you go out for us on the weekend? Or your boy say, hey, man, you know what? We hanging out this weekend, Is the wife good with you hanging out with us? Don't worry about it. Let them know we'll bring you home early. I'm joking around, but I'm saying you get the gist of what I'm saying. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I don't want someone to say that I'm being a square and saying that you can't go out to the club. I'm talking about people who decide that the club becomes their domain after they get off from work on Friday and Saturday nights instead of their wife. And if she's doing the same thing, then there's something wrong there. Or if she's at home or he's at home and you're doing it, there's something wrong there. Okay? Be realistic now. Now, it's also good if someone needs to help you, move or go talk to someone about, we're having these situational problems in our relationship, and I just want to ask you, what do you think? There's nothing wrong with having a friend for stuff like that. It's always good to have an outside opinion than you going to your husband or your wife. You want to go to somebody who don't have a stake in that situation. Those are real good people to have. It's good that your family be, involved with, if you need a safe haven or you need someone that's gonna might help you out financially, as family or something. That's when it's good for them to be involved and stuff. You don't want to have them too involved where they're doing money for you, and then next thing you know, they're making decisions for your relationship, and it becomes toxic. Now, saying that, that's about as close as a yes I'm getting. Now, I say no because I seen something on Facebook today that kind of brought home how I feel. This girl, this lady, was on Facebook this morning, and her quote was out to Facebook to her friends was, I have a friend who's always cheating on her and placing hands on her, and she's always coming to me talking about I'm gonna leave him, and then next thing you know, she right back with him. She said, but who am I to judge her? I'm gonna be there to support her. That's what friends do. She'll figure it all out with him later on. She'll figure him out, but until then, when she sit down and tell me she's gonna leave him, I'm gonna support him. When she says I'm going back to him, I'm gonna support her, because that's what friends do, and that's the realest you can be. No, there's something wrong with that. It's something clearly wrong with that. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that. First of all, it's an enabling system. That woman is enabling that woman instead of her being a true friend and saying, what are you getting out of this relationship? This man placing hands on you. He's cheating on you. What are you getting out of the relationship? Why are you staying there? That's what a true friend will do. If you're going to sit there and support her on that and say she'll figure it out, you're just as toxic as that relationship is, because you're enabling that toxicity. Chances are it's what they call misery love company. Because very rarely when you have another woman who's more progressive than that, who's going to hang out with people like that. Because you have most people when they hang out, if they're filled with drama, chances are their friends are just as drama as they are. Misery love company. And you're very rarely going to have somebody who's going to try to tell you the right thing to do, because they're not going to want to hear them. You have some people that they're just drama, it makes their day. They're not happy unless they're in the middle of some drama. And guess what? Chances are their circle is just like that. So that's why she's not going to be helping that girl out, because she's just like she is. Let me explain something to you. You'll never see, and you remember I said this, you'll never see a whore and a nun hang out together, because they don't have anything in common. If you see them hanging out, one or the other one, the whore or the nun, is trying to convert each other. Other than that, they have nothing in common. Most time you see nuns hanging with nuns and whores hanging with whores, because they have something in common. Do you understand me? Now, it's also, I say no, that you shouldn't have your friends involved, because you have to understand what are their objective. Because you have some of them that will sit there and try to have you doing things knowing that you're married or you're in a relationship. And they're trying to throw darts in it, or they're trying to implode it by telling you, dropping stuff in your head, or saying little things, or telling you doing little things that you know that you shouldn't be doing, but you're doing it to appease them. And they know that they're setting this blueprint for a failure of your relationship. And guess what? When that relationship blow up in your face, they move on to whatever they're doing. They get them relationship, and you stand on the outside looking in. They don't ruin your relationship. They don't move on doing what they're doing. But they feel better because now you ain't with nobody, and they can have you to be able to go and do all the most foolery things that you can think about. They can be in all kind of little sordid things you can be doing. Now you're free to do that. So you have to be careful about having people involved in your relationship. As I stated before, a married person have no business going talking to a single person. A single person has no person going talking to a person who's just sexually active all around the place. They don't have much in common there. You can't really a single person can't give no married person no real advice, because they don't have a resume that warrant that. And unfortunately, you have a lot of women who sit there married, and they go talk to their girlfriends who are single, or who got a man, or they bad at keeping a man, and they go give them advice, and it's just as toxic. It worsens the situation when they go in there. And then they wind up later when they find out that it ain't worth the dime. Then they say that same thing for guys. This guy trying to get you to go do all the things he wants you to do, and he know you married. And you know what's going to happen in that situation? You're going to have to be the one to give account of it. It's easy for people to give you advice to do stuff when they don't have to give account of it. And I think it's important that if you're in a relationship or you're married, that your communication be with each other. And you can always have outside counsel, but you warrant that. You make sure that you keep a good eye on that. And at the end, you make a decision. You make a decision that you can live with, that good or bad, you live with that, and not your friend made that decision for you. So I definitely believe, when I look at it as a whole, that you should not involve your friends in your relationship. You should keep them separate. Because if I'm a friend and I don't like your lady, the moment she do something that's sideways and you complain about it, I'm going to be jumping all over it. If she doing stuff that are good and continuously doing nice things, I'm not going to have much to sit and complain about. I'll try to find something, but I won't find much of anything. That's what people do who don't like you. So you might have a girlfriend who might like your husband more than you know. And she's sitting there posting up and you going off and you think that's my friend, and he and now blowing her back out. You know, I mean, and I strongly believe that you keep your friends closer and your enemies close. because your friends can do more damage to you than your enemy can. Because the enemy don't have your blueprint. Your friend do. So you have to be careful. There are some people who you have that are friends to the end, and I think that's beautiful when you have people who are good friends, but those are hard to really find. That there's nothing attached to it. That they're your friends because they're your friends. And they're going to tell you what you want to hear. Or you're going to have the ones who are going to tell you what you need to hear. I prefer to have friends who are going to tell me what I need to hear. Because you tell somebody what they want to hear, eventually they're going to blow up in their face. You tell somebody what they need to hear, even if it makes them mad with you, angry. They don't want to talk to you for a little while. They're going to come to realize at the end that friendship meant more, and it was more credible than any of the other friends that you accumulated who just saying what you want to hear or saying what they think you want to hear so they can gain from it. Then that friend was going to say, you know what, I'm willing to lose your friend to tell you the truth on what you need to do or how you need to approach that. Because that woman who sit there and said that man who beating her or cheating on her and I'm going to support her anyway, and when she leave him, I'm going to be him for her, and when she go back to him, I'm going to be him for her, that woman is more toxic to that girl than a person who sit and say, you need to leave this guy. Either you need to leave this guy keep putting his hands on you, and you're going to stay with him, I can't be your friend. Because I don't endorse that. And if I stay your friend and you're going to stay with him, then I can't be your friend. If I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you. You can move with me until you get yourself right. Or unless he plan on changing. But if you're going to go back and continue to get your skull cracked in or find all these different phone numbers or rubbers and all this other stuff and you continue to stay, then I can't deal with you. That's a true friend, because you know what? That person, you know, you can depend on them. At the end of the day, you can depend on them to be completely honest with you. And it's going to strengthen you and your relationship and your bond with that friend. You know when that person tells you something, that they're telling you something based on truth. And it's not based on any other factors that has nothing to do with true friendship. That, we down, that's my girl, that's my homes, we solid, so even though he doing something messed up. Because if you're a friend and somebody doing something messed up, you're a true friend telling them, you know what, man, that ain't right. That ain't right. Now, you know what, I love you, you're my boy and all that stuff, but that ain't right what you just did. I'm just saying, you gonna do what you want to, but that ain't right. But if I say, yeah, man, you cool, yeah, man, I understand, man, then that means that person is just as toxic as you is. But if you get somebody who sit and tell you that ain't right, that's a true friend who cares enough about you to be honest with you and willing to risk their friendship with you to be honest with you. So at the end of this whole discussion, I have to say, I said what I said and I stand by it. Now I want you all to feed back to me and tell me what your opinion is and give me your ideas or your situation, and I want to read them and respond to them. I'd love for you all also to hit the subscribe button and subscribe to me and become part of this family. And let's talk about multiple issues. And like I said, we're going to have lives. We're going to have like little polls and all these different junctures. I want you to join me when I said what I said, but next week at the same time. You all have a great night. Be safe. Love the one you with, and take care. Good night.